This was Saudi Arabia in the 1960s. And this is Saudi Arabia today. In just a few decades, Saudi Arabia transformed from a sparsely populated desert kingdom into one of the wealthiest and most influential nations on the planet. It just became the fastest growing major economy in the world, is building cities that look like science fiction, and has more geopolitical leverage than most European countries. They're not just surviving the end of the oil age, they're preparing to dominate what comes next. And while the world obsesses over China's fight for power or the decline of the West, the Middle East is the region to watch. So how did Saudi Arabia go from a desert kingdom dependent on oil to a technological and financial powerhouse? This is the story of Saudi Arabia's transformation and why it has more power than you think. The Great Deception. Let's start with what's really happening to Saudi Arabia's economy. According to the World Bank, Saudi Arabia's GDP is now over $833 billion, making it the 18th largest economy in the world and by far the largest in the Middle East. But here's what's really impressive. They're doing this while completely restructuring their entire economic model. In 2016, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman launched Vision 2030, the most ambitious economic diversification plan ever attempted by an oil-dependent nation. The goal? Reduce oil dependence from 90% of government revenue to just 50% by 2030. Most economists said it was impossible, and of course, they were wrong. Here are the numbers that prove it's working. According to the Saudi Ministry of Economy and Planning, non-oil revenue has already increased by over 400% since 2016. The private sector's contribution to GDP has grown from 40% to 48% in just 7 years. Saudi Arabia is literally rebuilding its entire economy in real time. But it's not just about diversification, it's about the scale of the ambition. Saudi Arabia is building NEOM, a $500 billion futuristic city that will be larger than Belgium. They're constructing The Line, a 170-kilometer linear city that will house 9 million people. They're creating the Red Sea Project, a luxury tourism destination covering 28,000 square kilometers. According to the Public Investment Fund, Saudi Arabia is investing over $7 trillion. Yes, trillion with a T, in domestic projects by 2030. To put that in perspective, that's more than the entire GDP of Germany. The results are clearly visible. Riyadh has become one of the world's fastest growing financial centers. The Saudi stock exchange Tadawul is now the largest in the Middle East and 8th largest globally by market cap, according to the World Federation of Exchanges. But here's what makes this even more remarkable. They're doing it all while maintaining one of the world's largest sovereign wealth funds. The Public Investment Fund now manages over $700 billion in assets, making it the 4th largest sovereign wealth fund globally according to the Sovereign Wealth Fund Institute. All about energy. Now you might be thinking this is just spending oil money before it runs out, but here's where Saudi Arabia's strategy gets really clever. They're not abandoning energy, they're revolutionizing it. While the world talks about moving away from fossil fuels, Saudi Arabia is positioning itself to dominate the next energy revolution. According to the Saudi Ministry of Energy, they're building the world's largest renewable energy program, with plans to generate 50% of their electricity from renewables by 2030. They're not just building renewable energy for themselves, though. Saudi Arabia is becoming the world's largest producer of green hydrogen. The NEOM Green Hydrogen project alone will produce 650 tons of green hydrogen daily, making it the largest green hydrogen facility on the planet according to Air Products. This isn't just about being environmentally friendly, it's about maintaining energy dominance in a post-oil world, and the numbers are staggering. Saudi Green Initiative says that they're investing $187 billion in renewable energy projects. They're planning to plant 10 billion trees across the kingdom. They're targeting net zero emissions by 2060. They're combining strong ambition with action and have been able to act quickly without the red tape that many other countries face. But what's particularly strategic is that they're keeping their oil production capacity while building renewable alternatives. This gives them incredible leverage in global energy markets. When oil prices are high, they profit massively. When the world moves to renewables, they'll be ready to dominate that market too. The geopolitical power. Saudi Arabia's transformation isn't just economic. They're reshaping Middle Eastern geopolitics in ways that most people completely miss. Here's something that will change how you think about Middle Eastern power. Saudi Arabia has become the diplomatic center of the region. According to the Council on Foreign Relations, Riyadh now hosts more international diplomatic meetings than any other Middle Eastern city. The Abraham Accords, which normalized relations between Israel and several Arab states, were largely orchestrated behind the scenes by Saudi Arabia. The recent China-brokered deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran was a diplomatic earthquake that shifted regional power dynamics according to the International Crisis Group. But we've been impressed by Saudi Arabia's diplomatic strategy. They are playing all sides. They maintain strong ties with the United States while building relationships with China and Russia. They're normalizing relations with Israel while maintaining support for Palestinian causes. They're balancing regional rivalries while positioning themselves as an indispensable mediator. The results speak for themselves. According to the Arab Center for Research and Policy Studies, Saudi Arabia is now seen as the most influential Arab country by a significant margin. When regional crises emerge, world leaders call Riyadh first. The technological leap. Now that you've seen the power that Saudi Arabia is cultivating in respect to energy development and geopolitical influence, let's better understand their technological future. Saudi Arabia has an official data and artificial intelligence authority, and according to them, $20 billion will be invested into artificial intelligence and research by 2030. They're building one of the world's largest data centers and are developing a national AI strategy that rivals anything in Silicon Valley. The numbers are impressive. Saudi Arabia now ranks 31st globally in the UN's E-Government Development Index, which evaluates the use of information and communication technologies within a region, up from 52nd in just 5 years, according to the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs. They're building smart cities that will be testbeds for technologies that don't exist anywhere else. But here's what makes this really strategic. Saudi Arabia is using their financial resources to attract the world's best tech talent. They're offering packages that Silicon Valley companies just can't match. They're building research facilities that rival MIT and Stanford. The Saudi Technology Development Investment Company has invested over $2 billion in international tech startups, according to their annual reports. They're not just building domestic tech capacity, they're buying into the global tech ecosystem. Saudi's cultural revolution. Now, here's something that most people completely miss about Saudi Arabia's transformation: the social and cultural changes that are making everything else possible. Under Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's leadership, Saudi Arabia has undergone the most rapid social transformation in its history. Women can now drive, attend sporting events, and travel abroad without male guardian permission, according to the Human Rights Watch. But this isn't just about social progress, it's about economic necessity. According to the Saudi General Authority for Statistics, 63% of Saudi Arabia's population is under 35. Quite simply, this young population demands different opportunities and lifestyles than previous generations had, and Saudi leadership is listening. This is a dangerous combination of factors that could lead to the country's continued rise to power, as so many other nations in the world are losing their young people in droves. The entertainment sector alone is projected to contribute $64 billion to GDP by 2030, according to the Saudi Entertainment Authority. Did you know that Saudi Arabia is hosting Formula One races, building massive entertainment complexes, and creating a tourism industry from scratch? International tourist arrivals increased by 121% in 2022. Saudi Arabia is targeting 100 million tourists annually by 2030, a number that would make it one of the world's top tourist destinations. Military modernization. But perhaps the most overlooked aspect of Saudi Arabia's rise is their military transformation, and this is where their growing power becomes really apparent, and to some, worrisome. Saudi Arabia is now the world's fourth largest military spender, with a defense budget of over $75 billion annually. But it's not just about spending, it's about building domestic military capabilities. The Saudi Arabian Military Industries Company is now producing advanced military equipment domestically. According to their corporate reports, they're manufacturing drones, missiles, and armored vehicles. Saudi Arabia is transitioning from arms importer to arms producer. But here's what's really strategic about this military buildup: they're using it to project power beyond their borders. Saudi Arabia leads the Arab coalition in Yemen, has significant influence in Lebanon and Syria, and maintains military partnerships across Africa, according to the International Institute for Strategic Studies. The kingdom has also become a major arms supplier to other countries in the region. According to the Arms Trade Treaty Secretariat, Saudi Arabia's defense exports have increased by over 300% since 2018. Regional dominance. At the end of the day, and what each of these key topics have in common, is that they're using their financial resources to build influence that extends far beyond the Middle East. Even in the financial sector, the Public Investment Fund isn't just investing domestically, it's buying stakes in companies across the globe. According to Bloomberg, PIF owns significant stakes in Uber, Tesla, Nintendo, and hundreds of other international companies. When Saudi Arabia invests $45 billion in SoftBank's Vision Fund, they're not just making money, they're gaining influence over the global tech ecosystem, according to the Financial Times. Saudi Arabia's foreign reserves exceed $450 billion. The Sovereign Wealth Fund is projected to reach $2 trillion by 2030. That's more financial firepower than most countries' entire economies. This financial influence translates directly into geopolitical power. When Saudi Arabia speaks, global markets listen. When they threaten to withdraw investments, countries pay attention. They've weaponized their wealth in ways that give them influence far beyond their geographic size. That is the power they hold to influence external countries and factors, but looking internally, they've asserted dominance through their tight grip on culture. According to the Arab Barometer, Saudi Arabia is now viewed as the most influential Arab country by populations across the region. This isn't just about military power or economic influence, it's about soft power and cultural leadership. The Saudi-led Arab coalition has given them military influence across the Arabian Peninsula. Their economic investments have created dependencies in countries from Egypt to Pakistan. Their religious authority as guardians of Islam's holiest site gives them influence over 1.8 billion Muslims worldwide, according to the Pew Research Center. They're using all of these forms of power in coordination. Economic investments come with political conditions. Military partnerships include technology transfers. Religious influence supports diplomatic initiatives. The result is a level of regional dominance that hasn't been seen since the height of the Ottoman Empire. Saudi Arabia isn't just the largest economy in the Middle East, they're becoming the region's undisputed hegemon. So here's what we've learned. Saudi Arabia has executed one of the most dramatic national transformations in modern history. They've built an $833 billion economy, growing faster than China, created a $700 billion sovereign wealth fund reshaping global markets, and launched the world's most ambitious renewable energy program while maintaining energy dominance. But the big question isn't whether Saudi Arabia has more power than you think, it's whether they're about to become one of the world's true superpowers. What do you think? Is Saudi Arabia's transformation sustainable, or are they just spending oil money before it runs out? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed learning more about the Middle East's hidden superpower, make sure to subscribe for more stories about the countries quietly reshaping our world. We'll see you in the next one.